Basil, and Basil once again. What's up, 23% Nation? This is your man, Coach D. Today I'm back with vegetable of the day, the one and only basil. So maybe you think basil is an herb. Maybe you think it's a vegetable. Maybe you love it. Maybe you like the way it tastes. Maybe you love the way it smells. Well, whatever the case may be, please listen and watch on. Why? Because we're about to dive just a little deeper into the wonderful world of basil. All right, first up, a little bit of background information. Basil is a common aromatic herb in the mint family, the same plant family as other nutrient-dense beneficial herbs, including mint, oregano, and rosemary. Now, take a look at the picture. As you can see, basil is a very pretty green plant. That's right, guys. Also, basil is used to add flavor to a variety of recipes. So, 23% Nation, at this time, I would like to point out just a small difference between an herb and a vegetable. Notice here it says that basil is used to add flavor. Well, in essence, that's what herbs do. Okay, they simply add flavors to a variety of recipes. Now, normally, and this is unlike vegetables, they're not used in very large quantities. So you can kind of think of an herb as an accessory, whereas a vegetable is a main dish. So there we have it, guys, a little bit of background information about the one and only basil. All right, more background information. Did you know there are actually 35 different types of basil? No, I didn't, so I guess I'm learning something new. Basil plants come in a range of variety and sizes, but holy basil is the most researched type of basil thus far. So, take a look at the picture. There you have it, guys. A beautiful image of what holy basil looks like. All right, more background information. Some of the many species of basil include, we have sweet basil, lemon basil, Italian or curly basil, holy basil, Thai basil, and lettuce leaf basil. Now, take a look at the picture. As you can see, we have 3, 6, 9 varieties shown here in the picture. So, if you're ever wondering what dwarf Greek basil looks like, well, now you know. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, even more background information about the one and only basil. All right, it's time now for a few fun facts. Holy basil is usually referred to as tulsi in India and is actually considered a sacred herb. Tulsi is also an important symbol in many other Hindu religious traditions and is linked to the goddess figure. In fact, tulsi in Sanskrit means the incomparable one. Nice. The most common cooking basil used as a fresh herb in recipes is Italian basil. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get something clear. Number one, there are many different types of basil, and let's never confuse holy basil with Italian basil. Holy basil is usually used to bless or to worship, and Italian basil is usually used to cook and to season foods. So, just a few fun facts about the one and only basil. All right, more fun facts. In historical European culture, basil has been tied to superstition and the scorpion. Take a look at the picture. Beautiful animal. Many years ago, it was advised to handle basil gently as to avoid the breeding of scorpions. Scorpions were believed to seek out basil pots to rest under. An old superstition said that a basil plant left for too long would eventually turn into a scorpion. So there we have it, guys. We now know the origin of the scorpion superstition and how it relates to basil. So, of course, more fun facts about the one and only basil plant. All right, more fun facts. When buying basil, look for brightly colored leaves that are firm and aren't wilted. You can try growing your own basil plants by planting some in any warm space that has a lot of access to sunlight. So, ladies and gentlemen, 23% Nation, if you're looking to grow basil in your home or in your backyard, please do so. It's easy to grow. All you have to do is make sure you put the plant in somewhere that is warm and it has access to sunlight. All right, it's time for the not so fun facts. Basil essential oil isn't meant to be ingested and should be diluted when used on the skin due to its potency. Basil, in fresh form, is considered very safe and is usually well tolerated since it doesn't commonly cause allergic reactions or side effects in most people. But there are some risks for certain groups of people. Now, let's take a look at the picture. As you can see, we have beautiful basil leaves and some basil oil. So basically what this is telling us is that basil oil is not to be consumed, meaning don't put it in your mouth. Instead, it's meant to be applied topically, or we can say the skin. Whereas the herb, sure, you can go ahead and eat those. But now this brings up a question, right? Because the text says that there are some risks for certain groups of people. So the question is, what groups of people should be on the lookout? Well, let's find out. Here we go. If you're pregnant, trying to get pregnant or breastfeeding, it's a good idea to avoid basil since traditionally it's been known to have anti-fertility effects. Oh no, say it ain't so. So ladies, if you're pregnant, trying to become pregnant, or breastfeeding, you may want to ask exactly what's in your next salad before you eat it. Basil essential oils or supplements might also interact with cholesterol-lowering medications and diabetic medications. So if you're currently taking prescriptions for these conditions, you want to speak with a doctor before taking basil supplements. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have high cholesterol or diabetes and you're taking medications for either of those conditions, definitely speak with your doctor before you purchase and consume any type of basil supplement. So there we have it, guys, the not so fun facts about the one and only basil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the 520 rule. It's all about food labels. That's right. The 520 rule helps us to learn how to understand and read food labels. Ultimately, it's a guide. It's a guide that lets us know whether or not a food or beverage item is a good source or not a good source of any particular nutrient. Now, when we talk about the 520 rule, really what we're talking about is percent daily value, abbreviated percent DV. Now, let's take a look at our sample food label. As you can see, it is divided into three main parts. One part is purple, one part is yellow, and the other part is blue. Let's first talk about the purple part. Now, the purple part is basically percent daily value. It's the column. And so as you can see, percent DV is represented as a percentage. Now, basically, there's a scale, right? It goes as low as 0% to as high as 100%. Now, there are some rare cases where the percent DV for a particular nutrient may exceed 100%, but in most cases, that is very rare. Now, of course, the higher end of the scale is 100%. Now, let's focus on the yellow portion. The yellow portion basically highlights certain nutrients like saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. Now, it's unfortunate, but these nutrients do a really good job at causing disease within the human body. So if anything, you want to make sure that whatever you're eating or drinking, that the percent DVs for these nutrients are as close to 0% as possible. Now, let's take a look at the blue nutrients, such as dietary fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron, which basically represent all vitamins and minerals. Now, these nutrients do just the opposite of the yellow nutrients. Rather than promote disease, sickness, and illness, they promote wellness and health within the body temple. So if anything, you want to make sure that these percent DVs are as close to 100% as possible. Now, Let's be a little more specific when we talk about the 520 rule. If any food or beverage item that you're consuming offers anywhere from 0% to 9% DV of any particular nutrient, then that food or beverage item is not a good source of that particular nutrient. Next, if the food or beverage item offers 10% to 19% DV of any particular nutrient, then that food or beverage item is considered a good source of that particular nutrient. Lastly, if the food or beverage item offers 20% DV or greater, then that food or beverage item is considered an excellent source of that particular nutrient. So there we have it, guys. The ins and outs about the 520 rule. Okay, now let's dive into the nutrition facts for basil, of course. Now for today's lecture, we're going to simply say that a single serving of basil is equal to only a half cup of fresh chopped basil. That's right, guys. Not even a full cup, only half a cup. So in this half cup, we're only going to get 2 calories, 0 fat, 0 protein, 0 sugar, and 0 fiber. All right. However, here's what we're going to get. As far as the vitamins and the minerals are concerned, vitamin A comes in at 24% DV. Excellent source. Now look at this. Vitamin K comes in at a whopping 108% DV. So basically what this means is, well, only half a cup will provide you with an entire day's worth of vitamin K and a little more for the following day. Now when it comes to manganese, 12% DV, so that will be a good source. And then we have vitamin C coming in at only 8% DV, so it's not a good source of vitamin C. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the nutrition facts about the one and only basil. All right, now let's dive into the health benefits. But before we do, Coach D wants to offer you something special. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the health benefits, we can't help but also talk about the principle of cause and effect, which basically states that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. There really is no such thing as chance and or luck. In other words, everything happens for a reason. So that being said, here's what I want to say is that if you have a disease, if you're sick, if you're ill, then chances are you caused it. Versus if you're healthy, well, chances are you caused that. Here's what you have to understand is that the illness, the sickness, the disease, or the health, that is the effect, right? So really the question is what is causing it? What's causing the health? What's causing the disease? So when we talk about the health benefits, not only do I want to give you the benefit, or we can say the effect, but I think it's also very important that you know the cause, right? So what's inside of the basil that is yielding these special benefits? Now we can say the word phytonutrient, or we can simply use the word medicine. So let's go benefit by benefit. Number 1, basil contains disease-fighting antioxidants such as orientin. So that would be the cause, the phytonutrient or the medicine. Benefit number 2, it acts as an anti-inflammatory. Amazing. So now the question is, which phytonutrient is responsible? Well, say hello to eugenol, and there are 2 others whose names I will not attempt to pronounce. Benefit number 3, it fights cancer. So the question is, which phytonutrients are the causes? Well, phytochemicals and antioxidants. Benefit number 4, contains antibacterial properties. Amazing. Now there are some essential oils such as cinnamate, pinene, and terpenol. Okay, all right. Benefit number 5, contains antimicrobial properties that fight viruses and infections. Well, that's the great news. But the even better news is that basil contains essential oils that then yield this effect. Benefit number 6, combats stress by acting as an adaptogen. So the question is, which medicine inside of basil does that? Well, say hello to its antioxidants. more health benefits. Benefit number 7, fights depression. So, what's the cause? The phytonutrients. Number 8, promotes cardiovascular health. What's the cause? The antioxidants. Number 9, supports liver function and helps detoxify the body. The cause? Phytonutrients. Number 10, helps alkalize the body and improve digestion. What's responsible? The phytonutrients. Benefit number 11, can act as a natural aphrodisiac. That's right, guys. It's time to stir things up in the bedroom. So the question is, which medicine or what's the cause, right? Phytonutrients. And the last benefit, number 12, helps protect from diabetes and metabolic syndrome. How nice. So the question is, what does that? Well, it's the essential oils in the basil. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. 12 amazing health benefits from the one and only herb of basil. All right, now it's time to talk about food. Now, of course, I went to our website for everything vegan, which is forksOverKnives.com. By the way, there is a movie entitled Forks Over Knives, which I highly recommend that you watch. Now, I went to the website, did a little bit of research, and look at what I found. 2 deliciously looking vegan basil recipes. Now, the first one is entitled Watermelon Basil Ice. Take a look at the picture. Looks delicious. The second recipe is Mushroom Basil au gratin. Take a look at that picture. Looks delicious, yes. Now, if your mouth is watering, and I hope it is, all you have to do is click on the description box. Why? Because I'm providing you with a link to each recipe. That's right. So click on the link. When you get there, you're going to find some great information, such as an ingredient list, cooking time, cooking instructions, everything that you need to know in order to make these nutritious, delicious dishes. So there we have it. Not 1, but 2 amazingly delicious and nutritious recipes from forksOverKnives.com. Oh, by the way, do me a favor. Make the dish, taste the dish, come back to the video and share your thoughts. All right, 23% Nation, I hear you. A lot of you say, well, Coach D, thanks for the fun facts. Coach D, thanks for the nutrition facts. But what I really want to know is, when should I eat more basil? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if that's your question, then I got to tell you that the perfect day to eat more basil is Nature Day. What? Nature Day? Oh yes, good old Nature Day. Guys, Nature Day happens to be the first day of the 23% challenge. Now, maybe you don't know anything about the challenge. Well, here we go. Basically, in a nutshell, the 23% challenge is a monthly 7-day wellness program that is designed to help improve your health, your wealth, your relationships. Oh, and it also helps to save good old planet Earth. Now, here's the thing. The challenge is monthly, meaning January through December, and it's the first 7 days of every month, meaning the first 7 days of every month. Okay. Now, being that Nature Day is the first day of the challenge simply means that Nature Day is the first day of every month. So, whether it's January 1st, March 1st, or even August 1st, it's always Nature Day. Okay. So some of us may be a little intrigued about Nature Day, and we may want to know more about it. Well, here we go. Guys, Nature Day is all about getting closer to nature. Now, yes, there are different things that you can do in order to get closer to nature, but I'm proposing that we get closer to nature by putting it inside of our bodies. That's right, guys. It's time to eat more plants. Now, I do understand that eating more plants can be very difficult for some people. So let's take baby steps. That's right, guys. It's time to move by baby steps. So why don't we try eating only plant foods before 12 p.m.? That way, after 12 p.m., you can eat whatever you want to eat. Or if before 12 p.m. doesn't work for you, then what about after 12 p.m.? That way, before 12 p.m., you can eat whatever you want to eat. Now, some of us may want to up the ante just a little bit, and so you may want to try to become a 3% vegan. Now, what is that? Well, it's any man, woman, or child who only eats plant foods and drinks only water for 1 day out of an entire month. Next up, you may want to try to become a 10% vegan. That's any person, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 3 days out of an entire month. Next up is a 17% vegan. That's any person, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 5 days out of an entire month. And lastly is the ultimate 23% vegan. Now, technically, that's what Coach D considers himself to be. So what does that mean? It means that for the first 7 days of every single month, I only eat from the 5 food groups of plant foods and drink only water. So now the question is, what are the 5 food groups of plant foods? Well, you got fruits, vegetables and herbs, nuts and seeds, legumes, meaning beans and peas, and whole grains. So there we have it, guys, the ins and outs about Nature Day. All right, so some of us may really be inspired. Some of us may really want to try this out. And so you may be asking yourself, so who is perfect for Nature Day? Who should eat more plants? Well, guys, if you've been stricken with the big 4, meaning cancer, heart disease, obesity, and type 2 diabetes, and maybe you're looking for a natural, holistic approach to healing, well, it's easy. Eat more plants. Maybe you have skin issues such as psoriasis, eczema, pimples, and acne. Maybe even blackheads, right? And you're looking for a holistic, natural approach to your healing, then let's eat more plants. Maybe you have digestive issues such as IBS or maybe constipation, right? And you want to stop being constipated? Well, it's easy. Eat more plants. Or maybe you have mental issues, right? Such as depression, bipolar. Maybe you have anger issues. Maybe you're just sad all the time. Or maybe you have difficulty concentrating and you're tired of the doctor's visits. You're tired of the medication and you're looking for a holistic, natural way to heal your body. It's easy. Eat more plants. Maybe you want to lean out, lose a little bit of body fat. So you may want to try our vegan lean program. Or maybe you're trying to bulk up naturally. You want to build some muscle without all the excessive protein powders and anabolic steroids. It's easy. Eat more plants. Try our vegan bulk program. Or maybe you're looking to transition from the standard American diet to a more whole food plant-based diet. Well, Nature Day is definitely for you. Or maybe you just want to eat more plants, right? And maybe you want a structured meal plan. Great. Then Nature Day is definitely for you. So there we have it, guys. We now know exactly who Nature Day is for. All right, now it's time for Coach D's tips. Why? Because I want you to have a successful Nature Day. Tip number 1, go to your local grocery store. Now, when you get there, you're going to go to one of 3 places. Number 1, you can always go to the produce section. Number 2, you can always go to the freezer aisle. Number 3, you can always go to the canned good aisle. Now, a lot of us, may want to know, well, what's the difference, Coach D? Should I buy and eat fresh, frozen, or canned? Well, ladies and gentlemen, fresh is always going to be ideal. So that would be number 1 on my list. Number 2, and this will be a very close second, would be frozen. That's right, guys. Believe it or not, the nutrition content of fresh versus frozen is very, very close. And thirdly, and I will have to say this is like 2 laps behind, would be the canned options. Why? Well, because canned plant foods, unfortunately, are loaded with toxins. They're loaded with additives, they're loaded with food colorings, and they're loaded with all types of things that aren't really so good for the body. So at the end of the day, they end up being more toxic than they do nutritious. Tip number 2, go to the prepared dishes section. Now, when you get over there, you're going to ask the person behind the counter if they have any, let's say, vegan, not necessarily vegetarian options, okay? And ask for a sample. Don't worry, it's free. If you like it, go ahead and purchase it by the pound, or maybe even 2-3 pounds if you really, really, really like it. Tip number 3, go to your local farmer's market. Now, guys, farmers markets are definitely the place to go to if you enjoy non-GMO organic plant foods. Plus, it's probably going to be a little cheaper. Why? Because the food is grown and transported locally. Tip number 4, go visit your favorite vegan restaurant. That's right, guys. Vegan restaurants are amazing for 2 reasons. Number 1, they hire vegan chefs. And number 2, the vegan chefs know exactly not only how to cook plant foods, but then they also know exactly which plant foods to cook together to yield the most delicious, nutritious dishes. Tip number 5, get a vegan meal prep company subscription. Now, these companies are amazing, especially for those of us who don't have time to cook plant foods, those of us who don't know how to cook plant foods, or even for those of us who don't want to cook plant foods, right? Let someone else do the cooking. So basically, they make it, they deliver it, you eat it. It's just that simple. So there we have it, guys. 5 amazing tips to help make your nature day successful. All right, it's time for our question of the day. And this comes from yours truly and the rest of the 23% nation. We want to know, in historical European culture, basil has been tied to superstition and the blank. So basically, you got to fill in the blank. Please write your answer in the comment box below. Now, I believe I went over this information earlier in the lecture. So if you don't remember it, or if you just didn't hear it, then just simply hit rewind. And once again, please type your answer in the comment box below. Well, guys, that's all that I have for you today. Always remember, let's eat well, feel well, think well, do well, be well. This is your man, Coach D. Now, before I sign out, I got to ask you to please subscribe, share, comment, and like the video, especially if you love basil. And don't forget to use our 3-word mantra. It's #EatMorePlants. As stated earlier, my name is Coach D. I'm signing out. Always remember to take care, God bless, and never ever forget that Coach D loves you.